I want to thank you all for joining in as we got a special guest today, a very good friend of mine, a good supervisor, all around great student at Officer Peavy, soon became a mentor. I'm going to let him come in and just start telling you about himself here in just a second. But I just want to let you all know we're going to switch it up a little bit. If you know, I did not do an inspirational insight today. The reason I did not do an inspirational insight today is because we're changing, we're making moves. You know what I'm saying? We learn to evolve and make things better. So starting next week, we're going to have an inspirational insight on its own day that's going to be posted. And I'm going to keep everybody abreast of the changes. We're going to go from there. Hey, always remember, don't be scared to make a change. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. All right, y'all. Let me welcome you all, Mackel Reagan, to the stage. What's up, Big Mac?
Oh, it's a pleasure being here, Dr. Woods. Always good to come and see you, my friend.
Hey. We go back 30 plus years, man.
Back to when we were babies, thinking we were men.
That's what's up. Hey, Mac, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are.
Mackel Reagan, as I almost called you your nickname. Dr. Woods stated
it's okay. You can call me Chop. It's all good. They call me Chop, Dr. Chop, whatever. You good.
Hey, you always chop to me.
Exactly. Let's keep it going. You good.
Mackel Reagan grew up in the base of East Tennessee in the, Appalachian Mountains. Grew up very poor, different environment. Nobody in my family had ever graduated high school. I played a little thing called football, and it carried me out on to college, all through my master's degrees and on, where I went to Austin Peay, met my lovely wife, Isabel, for over 30, getting ready to be 33 years this year coming up. And we have 3 beautiful children that are just the world to me. And just a down-home guy, I tend to think that's lived an extraordinarily blessed life.
That's what's up, big dog. Hey, one thing I can tell you, man, one thing that you will always be known for is when you had that group home.
Never were. Never. Yeah.
When you became director of the group home, but it's so funny that moving into that group home changed my life because I never stopped messing with kids. Not messing with kids, working with kids and guiding them and give them that information and let them know that, hey, there's somebody out here that really cares for you. And just that whole approach, almost 28 years later, I finally walked away from it and started doing other things, which it was time. But all because, let me let people know, Reagan came to me and he said, hey, man, I'm running this group home. And he said, I'm going to go ahead and be real. I got to get structure in it first. And he said, I don't necessarily want nobody coming in and hurt kids or nothing like that. That's not what I want. He said, I just want the biggest people that I can find, just like me, and we just going to take this group home over. And that's what we done. We never had to really put our hands on them, just really provide them with guidance and allow them to see that somebody out here wants them to be successful. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to thank you for that, Matt.
Well, I looked for positive role models. People that came from, people need to see people like them in life, Chop. They really, they need to see who struggle like I did growing up and was able to make it. And they need to see people like you, grew up downtown Nashville, I believe. We both had family members.
West Side Nashville, West Side. We went downtown, dog. Let me go straight there. We West Side Nashville, but we went downtown.
Well, I guess you were over by Vandy then, weren't you?
You're not helping the situation, though, man. Come on now.
Yeah, I know exactly the situation.
Yeah.
But I spent a few years down there in Vandy when one of my kids was going to school there. And, you know, it's a different world. You go to this real beautiful, perfect campus.
Perfect, yeah.
You go a mile in any direction, the world changes, you know.
Absolutely.
The world changes. And you go from people who are, you know, the most successful through high school, you know, you don't get into Vanderbilt very easy. And then you have to struggle and fight for everything they get in life. And those are the people that I always, you know, I relate to. I always was that kid, you know, no teacher until I got into college really showed interest to me, except for the fact that I could play football, you know, and I knew what was going to get me out of there. Mom raised me on about $3,000 a year, me and my sister. But when college coaches started showing up to my high school, I knew I had a chance.
Right.
I seized it and I took advantage of it.
That's right. Hey, I think that's very important. And that not only goes on in life, but that also goes on in work, school, or whatever it is. Maximize the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
See, always be ready to take the championship. You got to be ready to play at any time. I say that all the time.
That's right. That's right. Hey, look at, and I'm not no big new. Well, you know, I was a Drew Bledsoe fan. I like, even though I'm a Steelers fan, I like Drew Bledsoe. But look at it when what's that quarterback name that took over for him?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Look up when Tom Brady took over. He seized the opportunity.
And it
never went back. Never. And for that, I respect him for being prepared and maximizing that opportunity, and look at the career that he had. You know what I'm saying? Being a 6th-round pick, he made the best of it. And exactly. That's why we have to think like that. When I get this opportunity, I'm going to maximize it. Knock that door down.
You know, I got into recreation sort of like that. I was at, you know, a couple of years out of school working on my master's degree. I mean, you know, I had a few issues, you know, didn't get along with some of the upper administration at the university. And Drew Simmons called and asked me if I wanted to come work for him. We all remember Drew. He had a lot of those like me.
Yeah.
And thought that I could, you know, do a lot of good things for him. And that's what he said. But really, he did a lot of good things for me. He gave me.
You know, man, what I like about that when you talk about Drew, and we still talk about Drew all the time with the fraternity and stuff like that, man, Drew was a people's person, man. I mean, he can see the smallest thing in you. He's seen stuff in people that they didn't see in themselves, and the trajectory behind him of what people became from that, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
When you look back at, you know, all those people he had there, they all had something. I don't know. Sometimes I think he was part psychologist, you know?
Absolutely.
He did a lot of good things for us.
A wonderful. Hey, he was a daddy to a lot of us students that was there. A good positive role model, man. Positive male role model at that.
Exactly.
Let me go in and ask you, because you know you do a lot of mentoring and everything like that, like myself. Do you want to dive into the power of mentoring?
Yeah. Well, for one thing, I think it's necessary for all of us to give back in our life. You know, it's necessary. It's absolutely important. It's not as much for the person you're mentoring, it's for yourself too.
Correct.
You know, I can get out here and I'm a parks director for, you know, one of the larger parks departments in the state right now. And I have one of the bigger martial arts clubs with my son. But you can really quickly forget where you came from if you don't go back and work with that and show people. So a lot of my stuff now is through the martial arts, through judo. But when I first got out, it's through athletics, coaching, volunteering, just trying to be an impact with people. Because not everybody gets that, you know, and sometimes that's the difference between somebody being successful and somebody not. And we all know that when a lot of people aren't successful, it leads to bad situations. You know, we saw that, when we were working the group home. A lot of those kids they didn't have a real good life. When you're getting locked up and you're told when you go to sleep and wake up, that's not a good life, brother.
No. And what's also to add to that, man, even coming from the juvenile detention center, it's not a good life. But you know what was sad about it, but true at the same time? Man, for a lot of them kids, the first time they had structure.
Yep. And if somebody would have helped them with that, maybe they could have avoided that.
Yeah.
We know that lesson is not a good lesson to learn. It's not a positive. You may make a positive out of it, but it's not a good situation to go through for those kids.
And that's why we used to always tell them, don't let your decisions that you made dictate your future. Some of you can actually come back from the decision that you made, and it's some that you're going to have to do some hardcore time and pray that God give you grace to have an opportunity to make a change. And some, I know some that's out now, but you just think about this, Reagan. We've been dealing with this since what, 94?
92 or 93, I think.
Yeah. Oh, Lord Jesus. I think I probably wasn't even old enough to be working at that place, but we ain't gonna say nothing.
No, well, you had the skill set that was necessary.
Absolutely. Because we did a lot of mentoring with a lot of kids that was around the campus and stuff. And at that time, a lot of them wasn't able to come on campus play basketball, but we got with Drew. And we just told Drew, he said, man, these kids are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. These are young black men in the community. And it's a whole lot more worse things that they can be doing. But if they want to come in here and play basketball, we just need your approval. And we would make sure that, they would get home, that we make sure they're not causing trouble. And, man, one of the kids came back, and I think he talked to Derek Arrington, one of the brothers, and he was like, man, that whole approach of just being there for us, allowing us not to be on the street. He said that's all we was doing. We was just walking around looking for something to do because in Lincoln Homes, their basketball goals and all that wasn't up to par. And so just taking that time to just showing them something different and to see them kids go to school, get a college degree, or go to get a trade, man, that stuff right there let you know. And I always say back in the day, I think our goal was, if we can change one life, we done a lifetime of work.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
it was important for those kids to realize that just because we were well behaved and we were doing what we, were supposed to do, did not mean that we would let you take advantage of us in any way whatsoever.
Exactly.
Hired people that could deal with business,
Yeah.
And
then to tell them that, hey, what you doing is nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
All right, Reagan. Let me ask you this, man. You have a lot going on with the judo and everything else, and the rec and family. What do you do to find a balance in work life?
Well, I met my lovely wife, Isabel, while we were in college. She walked out of the weight room one day, second time I'd ever saw her. And I stood on the table and said, I'm marrying that woman.
I remember that.
Yeah. And 6 months later, I had married her. And
I know.
Luckily she puts up with a lot, but she allows me to do a lot of things. I have a really, really good job with the city of Columbia. I love my job. I get to work with great people, get to do a lot of things that Drew did.
Right.
We provide a really good service. We're top of the line as far as, economic impact. And we just opened up a recreational facility that is really doing well. So what we had to do, we had no family close to us, when we started. My in-laws came and stayed with us with Eduardo, but we had to depend on each other, which really was very important for us. It allowed us, there's nobody else I have to count on other than Isabel. I know I can always count on her. And we saved that balance between us. You back with me, brother?
Yeah, I go off and on. So you can have the stage to yourself.
We never limited the amount of sports our kids played, so we always worked together. She worked on weekends so that we could always take care of our kids. And she did a lot of this. Now, I've got to the point now where she's allowed to retire and take care of Eduardo full time.
Yeah.
And it is totally changing his life. So we always work together for work-life balance, always. But I got to go to all my kids' sporting events. I took lower jobs sometimes and lower pay to make sure I could do that. Like when I was with the state, we only worked 37 and a half hours a week, So that was a good position that allowed me to fill that in. But what I really think is the important thing is that we always work together. And, and work-life balance now is, to be honest, I would work to the day I die. Great, as long as I'm at Columbia, I'd always do that. I plan on doing it for my family.
Yeah. Reagan, what I appreciate about that statement is that I too was in that situation where you would take less pay in order to allow and to be there for your kids. So when they in sporting events or school activities, plays, and all that, that stuff mean the world because, man, you look up, and that's why I tell this advice I give to a lot of young parents is be there as much as you can because even though they may be 4 or 5 now, they're going to be 18 in the click of an eye. Exactly. If the Lord is blessing, or showing mercy and grace. And that time going to fly by so fast that you don't want to live a life of resentment and regret. That's going to hurt.
And I can obviously say I probably attended too much. When Eric Mason was the coach at Vanderbilt, he would have let me come to practice. And Bruno's a grown man. If you don't know Bruno, he's world-class fighter and all those things. But Daddy was there.
Right.
And it made me good to get to do that. Makes me better as a person to see them. When I got to go to Gabby's games, and thank God for live stream. You were able to watch all college athletic games. It's important. And another thing is, while they were in college, I would always text them, "Good night, I love you." Always. I never wanted my kids not to know that no matter how things went in their life, that they always had a place to come home to with mommy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's why it's called home.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right. Let's dive into another topic, the attitude of success.
Yeah. Well, this is something I'm just going to, I like to brag, especially when we're talking Reagans. I can talk.
Yeah.
We took
like
up
the Blue Bloods.
Yeah. We took up judo. I did sambo for about 3 years until my instructor got deported back to Russia. Right before menu, I took sambo. And Bruno started.
What happened to him? He got deported.
Got deported. Yeah. He got deported. He came in one day, never talked much, just said, "I've been deported." Only 4 people in the class, and it was free. It was basically torture,
Yeah.
But you learn to fight real quick, But he got deported, so I did taekwondo for a little while. Nothing really, nothing really. But Bruno started taking judo at the Pro Center where we worked. To come in and clean things up. So we went in there, and I took it, started with him, and it just went on. And by the time Bruno was 7, he was winning national championships. And, we went on, went to a world team, went to Ukraine and fought. So this last year I went to Cuba. But the one thing I have noticed, you can't determine your genetics. You cannot.
No.
Some kids will never be able to win nationals, but they can be a good black belt. The thing that separates those really top of the food chain fighters is their attitude. It's how they perceive life. They may not have anything else in their life without, they seem very narrow, but when you look at them when they're success, those are the people who are really, really successful. They base their life around these things. You know, not
Right.
it can be a professional football player, you know, world team judo person, multi black belt, you know, win Pan Ams in jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. You know, they can't play college SEC football. But what gets the people the most success and the thing that hurts the most people is their attitude, their ability to commit. And that's in all parts of your life. And I have some kids right now who have committed. They may not have the athletic ability to get to the world championship level, but they have a chance. I have a couple that are coming up right now that are really, really right on the edge of being where they could go do judo the rest of their life. You know, they
Well,
won't.
you know what? Let me ask you this, because I talk about this a lot of times when it comes to sports as a whole. There's so many things that kids can get out of sporting events, such as being a leader, being learning teamwork, learning that you're not going to always win, but that don't mean that you got to give up. Stuff as that. Dealing with martial arts, what do you find and that you tell your students that's important factors to become successful in life?
To become successful, we usually start that later. At the beginning, we try to give the basic, you know, the influence, athletic ability. You will be a better athlete. You'll have better balance. You'll be stronger. You'll be faster. Those are the important things. To participate with other people that you can beat and that can beat you is important. That competition level on a daily basis. In judo, we have randori, which is free fighting. And we're one of the few clubs out there that randori every day. It's not about show with us. It's about putting it into action. And that's very important. I have some very, very high level kids who sometimes they'll break into tears from frustration. They just cannot handle losing. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, they'll give them the speech about losing. To me, that's not a bad thing. You show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. You want to lose. You want it, it drives them to train harder, to be better.
Yeah.
And
that's the difference
yeah.
between going from good to great.
Yes. When it's good, you know, when you first do judo, you're good. Right before you get good, that's when it's fun. You're coming, you're playing, you're training. There's no real competition. You know,
Right.
beat this kid, you try to beat that. But it's not the end of the world. Once you go across that level and you become good,
yeah,
personal. It's personal when kids lose. They take it to heart. And that's, you know, that's important. As parents, sometimes we try to make our kids' life too soft for them. It's important to experience those things. You need to fall. You need to get, not everything in life is going to be easy. There's going to be jobs that you should get someday as an individual that you don't get. You know, for some reason, you have to be able to put that behind you and strive forward and work towards achieving. You got to force people to give you, you know, everything in life's a competition. Somebody's going to marry the best looking girl or the best looking man, you know, at the college, which,
right.
yeah, I did that. You know, somebody's going to be the All-American. Somebody's going to have the best grades. Somebody's going to get the best job. Everything in life is competition. Once you realize that and you're willing to compete, then you can be successful.
That's true, Reagan.
Yep.
That's true. Well,
I never had an educational background growing up from where I did. Found out I was dyslexic when I was 24 years old, graduating from college. There was like, oh, we can do this class for you that'll help you. I'm 24 years old with a college degree. I'm going to go on to grad school and I ain't going to worry about it. I've lived through it this long. So I could either complain about that, I could either say, or I could go forth, you know. That's what you got to do. Whether it's athletics, your life, everything. You can't force people to love you in life. You're gonna have breakups, you know. So there's going to be things that you have to deal with that's going to hurt, and that's what makes the good times good, you know.
Right. And if you go through things in life and stuff is not hectic at times or You know, you're going to have some sad days, bad days, but no one said it's going to be easy. It's a part of life. It's a part of the cycle. It's going to come. It's going to happen. You know, I used to hear my uncle say, hey, live long enough. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff that's not going to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. All right, Reagan, let me ask you this. As we get ready to wrap this up, is there anything that you want to ask me?
Always be better to people than they are to you. So if they're extremely good to you, you be better than that. Always try to forgive. I have a hard time with this, and I'm preaching to myself. Always forgive. Because sometimes when you forgive, it's for you to get rid of that, those hard feelings. Always accept people for who they are. You've known me a long time. I absolutely cannot understand how racism is a thing.
Right.
How do we judge people like that?
Right.
That's a gift that God gave me. Because when I was growing up in that little all-white county, in the first time I turned on my AM radio and I heard George Clinton, oh, it was on, brother. It was and respect everybody's culture. It's so awesome when you can just, experience the world. Because right now you can see every community in the world through the internet.
Yes.
So be good to people. Be good to your neighbor. Be good to strangers. That's what I say.
Reagan, one of the pieces of advice I like to give to people, man, and I try to live it as well, is that there's going to come things in our life that's going to be good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. And my thing is, and a lot of people say it's easier said than done, but my thing is if you practice it, it's going to get easier. And that is control the things you can control, and the things that you can't control, don't worry about it.
Just let it go.
You got to let it go because it's going to worry you. It's going to put stress and strain on your body, your mind, your health. And I just really feel that, it is an art. Everybody can't do it. But I'm not going to stop giving that bit of advice. Just like how you talked about, hey, even though somebody do something bad to you, forgive them. And that forgiving is not for them. It's for you because that's going to allow you to move. And just last week on one of the clips that I put, it's just getting people past thresholds. Just understanding that in life, that's going to be things that's going to come your way. That's going to be stuff that's going to happen. That's going to be stuff that's going to occur. That's going to be stuff where people just going to straight up blood and lie on you.
Yep.
You got to get past that and move on. And when people see you moving on, they be like, damn, what else can I do to bring them down? You know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand. You don't know my God. You don't know how my God has got me through difficult situations. So whatever you trying to do to bring me down, obviously I know I'm doing what is right on the right path because it's bothering you in a way that you feel that you have to lie. And I want to, share that with a lot of people. Don't let people get in your way to keep you from moving on in life.
Yep. Just try to be good.
Just try to be good. And then you know what? If you keep trying to be good, then you're going to become great one day.
Yep.
All right, Brother Reagan. We're going to wrap it up, man. I thank you for coming on to the show today, man. It's been a real good speaking with you as always, Reagan, man. You are a wealth of knowledge. You have always been a role model, man, a good community person, and it was at the P was one of the coolest people I met, and to this day, man, I always respect everything that you do. I keep up with you, your kids, and everything on Facebook and everything, man. I just wanted to take this time to say, hey, man, I'm proud of you, and thank God for this mercy and grace, man. We getting old, Reagan.
Hey, I will be 59 this year, and I feel it. You know how bad this is? I dislocated a toe the other judo, and it popped out. Didn't even have a bruise or anything. It'd been dislocated so many times.
Understand it. Hey, man, you got any closing remarks for the people?
Closing remarks. Hey, get yourself a good set of friends that you can count on. But most of all, get yourself a spouse that will always be there with you. Your family will allow, because you can always change anything in life. It's hard to change spouses. It gets expensive and tough, and it hurts a lot. So that's one thing I'm proud to say that I never had to do. I've married one woman and had one set of kids, and just want to be happy. Just want to be happy.
Yeah.
When I saw your post about Dr. Woods, I was like, heck yeah, that's my man right there. Heck yeah.
That's what's up, Reagan. Hey, you know how we was about education, man. Making the best and let's get it, no matter what, man. So, exactly. Hey, I appreciate you always, Reagan, man. The thing that I like to see is so many times, I'm going to go back to this, is just watching so many of us find our level of success as we was up under the tutelage of the grand wizard, Andrew Drew Simmons, man, and just watching so many people, different places, just finding their level of success, man, and that's just a wonderful thing to see, continue to go and everything like that, man. So I just want to tell you, man, I appreciate you. We're going to wrap it up, man, get up out of here. Hey, y'all, I want to tell y'all once again, Mackel Reagan, our guest for today. And just remember, small victories lead to greater success. I am Dr. Woods, and you have just been hit by the R.A.W approach. Peace out.
Love you, brother.
Peace out, Brandon. Take care.